Okay, so this is my work in progress video. I thought I'd share a little bit of the process I go through when I'm putting together production. I've just started with Cartoon Animator, so I'm still learning the ropes with this stuff. I've used 2D animation tools before when I was at the Art Institute getting my degree, but still trying to learn how to use Cartoon Animator at this point. On this particular one, it's basically a story about Crocodile Dundee teaming up with Indiana Jones just when you thought Indiana Jones was over. And just wanted to add a little hilarity to things. A lot of great assets I got from the asset store. Some good things as far as the scenes, the aircraft, the characters, the actors are great. So I can't recommend enough the marketplace and the content store for Reallusion. On here, I'm laid it out so far, so I've got some basic animations. You'll see here how they dance a bit, and they have a chant that I did for them. And then I just have the voices for the actors, but they haven't been animated yet for facial and hand movements. I'm about to do that with you. Let's take a look.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee, we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
Thanks.
So there's just a little bit of a snapshot of things. Where he says he's going to lend him a hand, I'm actually going to have him take a hand and hand it to him, to add a little comic relief to the piece as well. So I've got that laid out. The main things I need to do is I need to work on the faces, their movements, their expressions, the eye blinks, and the animation of Indiana Jones and Crocodile Dundee, and the hand being passed from one to the other. At the end, I'm thinking about having the two pots that they're in fall over so that they can get out. He basically uses a hand to push the one away, but I got to see what works best because I've got everything laid out in After Effects that I want to keep to the same timeline, so I don't want to make it go longer. So we'll kind of play that by ear. And then all my other scenes are laid out, so this is my final scene I'm putting in. I thought I'd share with you. So at this point, and then finally what I'll do after that is camera angles because I want to do cut-ins. I want to start with a close-up of the fire burning and then go to additional shots. But let's just get on with the animation part so I can share that with you. So first off, let's see what's going to work best. Like I said, I am a little bit new to this stuff, so it's still something I'm getting used to. I'm going to try to use this other app that they have that I got when I bought Cartoon Animator. I'm not sure if it comes for free or if you have to pay extra for that, but it's Face 3D Tracker. As you can see, it's got this mocap stuff it's doing on my face. I think what I'm going to do is I've got a little light here that I use for my fly tying for fishing. So I'll try to do that. That gives it enough light. I also have an overhead light I could use if needed, but I think that one gives me a good consistency. It's not losing it too easily. Well, I am losing it a little. Let me turn the overhead light on as well. See if that makes a difference. Okay, there we go. And maybe I'll bring this one back a little bit so I'm not too over bright. So you just kind of move around and see if you lose it. Now it seems to keep my face. I tried this on one other animation, but it didn't work very well. But that was because it was a photograph that I was animating. I think those don't work quite as well. So I got it there. By clicking on this one here, it's making it always on top. And then I'm also going to go to the settings on this because by default, let me see here, a little eye challenge here. By default, the quality is only 640 by 480. I'm going to make it go up to the 1280. And the video frames, I'm going to have it go to 30 instead of 10. Okay, I think that should be good then. I'll close that back up so I can just see me. Okay, take that off again. I don't want to wear my glasses when I'm doing it because it might throw off the eye tracking. I'm not sure, but just in case. All right, so I'm put that over here and I have it on top, so when I'm clicking on this stuff, it's not going to affect it. All right, so I have Indiana here, and what I'll do is I'll just do his scripts one at a time and see what I can get best with it. Let me also open up my timeline at the bottom here so I can see Indiana. And let's see. Okay, come up here. There's an M up here. This is for the face tracker and any others that you're using for your technologies for mocap. So I want to go here. I have the adventurer, him selected. I could have renamed that. That might have made it a little bit easier so I know it's Indiana. In fact, why don't I do that real quick? Just so it doesn't get confusing. Go over to my scenes folder and highlight it and then type in Indiana. And let me do the other one too while I'm here. Other adventurer. Click on him and make sure, yep, that's Dundee. Keeping organized is a big part of animating. It can take you a whole lot more if you apply things to the wrong character. All right, so I have Indiana, and I have him selected. And so it wants to put this on Dundee for some reason. So let me leave this. And that's Indiana. Let's try it again. There we go. We have Indiana selected. Face 3D. I want to make sure this one's selected. Okay. Now you can do a preview beforehand just to make sure it's working correctly. Oh, and you can also, there are additional settings here. I do not want it to record audio. So right underneath the picture, you have this blocks, because I've already got audio. I don't want to mess up what I've already got there. I can also tell it to blend it. I can smooth the head. I can mirror it if I want it to do the left side instead of the right and so forth. So let's take a gander here and see. So as I do this.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee, we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
Thanks, mate. Guess they can teach an old dog a new trick.
Okay. Who you calling an old dog?
All right, so a couple things I'm noticing. The mouth, I don't want that to move because I want to leave it with what they've got. Otherwise, all my lip sync's going to go away. As far as the eye blink, I'm going to close the eye sections right now. I'm basically clicking on them to turn them off. I think I'll leave the forehead part here and maybe, yeah, I think that's good there. So I just want to give it a little bit, but I don't want to overdo it because I'll take away too much from the character, I think. So let's take a look and see how it works. Preview again.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee.
All right, that didn't do anything right. I tell you what, I don't think I want to use the face tracker. Again, like I said, I'm still learning this stuff, so I'm going to turn that off. Instead, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. We're just going to go back in here instead of doing motion tracking. Let me turn off my light here since I don't need that. I'm going to go in and simply do it here. My left click will make that move around. I can bob his head around and have him come down and up and things like that. Okay, so that's one. Let's see, maybe go for a different character. I got to hit spacebar to get into it. Let's try this one instead and see. Kind of like that bounciness of him. That kind of reminds me of Dundee. I mean, not Dundee, excuse me, Jones. So let's go ahead and record it with that one and see how it works.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the...
Now, why is it not giving me his lip sync? All right, let me cancel this and undo. One thing I'm not always sure about is like when I'm doing a recording like I'm doing right now with OBS, is it that's slowing things down so that you can't see
Looks
it?
like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan...
Okay, so it looks like he's fine. So I need to see, let's try it again. All right, let's try recording it.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee, we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
Thanks, mate. Guess they can.
All right, let's see what that did. Did it keep his lip sync? Is it just not showing it to me when I'm recording it?
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee,
Yep.
we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
All right, so I'm going to record it from that point on. So it's doing it. I wish I could figure out how to make it so that I can see both of them together instead of it just turning off one to show me what I'm doing. But we'll see, there might be a way to do that. I don't know. But for right now, I'm just going to go on. It's working, so why fight it? So we're going to pick up here at frame 634.
Thanks, mate. Guess they can teach an old dog a new trick.
Who you calling an old dog?
Well, they did name you after a dog, didn't they, mate?
Let's just get to the plane.
Well, lead the way, mate.
Okay. So there, I've got him finished. But I also want to do a little bit more. That's with the face puppet. Come on, why won't it shut? Okay. Had to hit the space bar. Okay, let me just make sure. Yeah, it's got all the eye movements and stuff. Okay, good. So I'm also going, let's see, is it this one? No, that's the one when I want to do the sprites. I think it's this one here. Yeah, this is the one with the face where I can make him pull from one area to another. So I'm going to take this one and pull him around. So we'll go back to the very beginning. It's frame 0. I'm going to go to spots where I want to move his head and move it.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would...
Doesn't look like he pulls that much on the 360. Can't spin him around. Let's see, is it maybe I'm in the wrong mode? Okay, well what I can do is I can do expressions at least. Maybe get him angry. But the other thing you want to look at with this too is that depends on what he's doing at the time, because he might affect things. So you got to kind of test it out and see what works.
Followed the plan, Dundee, we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Okay. All right, so here I want to bring him to face him a little bit more. Gosh, I don't understand why it's not turning. It might be that these characters don't have that kind of 360-ness. I'll have to check with Gary afterwards. Like I said, I'm still learning this stuff, so it's a work in progress. Um, so I'm going to give him an anger expression. And I can also bring down the expression's intensity a little bit if I need to there. And
Let me lend you a hand.
Thanks, mate. Guess they can teach an old dog a new trick.
Who you calling an old dog?
Well, they did name you after a dog, didn't they, mate?
Let's just get to the plane.
Well, lead the way, mate. Looks like you got us into one hot kid.
okay, so that gives you a little bit of it. Also want to go in and just show you a little bit in this preview of the animation side. So when I'm doing this, lend you a hand, because that's going to be a tricky part. I'll probably come back and do a little bit more of this stuff. You know, I'm not all the way done, but just wanted to show you a little bit of my process. All right, so when he says,
Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
all right, so right there, and sometimes it helps to write things down. This is frame 635. So at this point, he should be taking an arm and lending him a hand. So I'm going to, for this, I'm going to try something. Let's see, hopefully I can get it so that I can just take the hand from a second copy of him, or I can export it out to Photoshop and then bring it back in as just a hand. But I'm going to try to do it as a character. That way I can still animate the hand if I need to. So let's see here. We have Indiana here. Oh wow, it doesn't keep him. It didn't keep Dundee. I must have undone that name change. Okay, so I come here and I can go up to edit and duplicate. Takes a little while. And now I should have one down here. It's Indiana 0. I'm going to call this hand. Other thing I could do is I have the thing. I could always do yeah, I could just do thing. That would be an easier way. But let's take a look here. We'll try it both ways. So I've got Indiana here. And I can go to my sprite editor. And I can turn everything off except the hand. I don't know which one I'm going to use yet, so I'll leave both hands. And then the face, you got to turn everything off. So we'll take a look and see which one works better. All right, so there we go. And I think all we have in our character, it looks like he's got something up here too. I don't know what that is. It might be the nose. Yeah, no, got the nose turned off. I will have to see. I'll turn this off and let's move this thing around and see when we move the hand around, what do we get? So we still have something like ears and something with the arms. I think it's like something he's wearing. So let's go back to the sprite editor again. Oh, wrong thing. All right, so his ears. Oh, there we go. There's one ear. Oh, I also have the mouth. I didn't turn that off yet. Okay, and then the other ear. Okay, so that's all of the face. I'm not sure what it is with the body that's giving me those. Oh, here we go, the torso. No, that's not the torso. Turn this hand off so we're down to 1. Left arm. Right thigh. I don't know what it is. There's something there, though, that's not letting me turn it off. But you know, it's one of these things with animation. A lot of times, you just got to find a different way to do it. You know, if it doesn't work one way, you try another. Yeah, because as you can see here, I don't know if you can see it where you're at, but it's got something there. It's like his side packs or something that he's wearing. Oh, I see what it is. He's got bags on over here and his whip. They were things that I added in his holster. And what else? Yeah, that was it. So I can do it with this hand. Maybe make it a little bit larger. And turn it. Make it a little smaller. So here you can lend him a hand. That's one. Or I have one called Thing. Let's go into here. It's in the Wednesday Addams pack. This is a really nice one. It's under props, I believe. Yep. So I'll bring that in and we'll see how that works. Nice thing with this one is it's more 3D-ish. So you might get it a little bit easier with this than you do with the other one. Plus, like I said, I can move it. So we'll take a look and see what works best. Okay, let me go back to my scene here. And this one is under props and it's Thing. In fact, I'm going to shorten up the name of it to Thing. If I can type. That's one bad thing when you can't see the letters. I hope I typed that right. Okay, and then I'm going to go back here to hand and turn that off for now. Because I think I like this one better, but we'll see. Okay, so first thing I like to do is I like to get it so that it's at the right distance, you know, so that, oh, wait a minute, that's my hand thing. Why did it come back on? Okay, so I want Thing. All right, so I want to move this one so it's here. And get my scale about what I want it to be. All right, so I'm going to have it in here. I want it to be in front of Indiana because you want to see it like he's pulling it from the pot. All right, there we go. So it's in there. Now I want to turn off the pot. This is one of my props. Let's see here. So this prop is, I'm trying to remember what it's called. It might have tribesmen in front of it, but it's not, it shouldn't be under actors. Oh, cauldron, there we go, okay. So I've got the cauldron, that's that one, and that's the one he's in, okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it off so I can see this, and I wanna go all the way to my very first frame. Oh, wait a minute. Get the hand back in place where I want it. And I'm going to click on the hand for Thing, and I'm going to right click it and tell it to remove object animation so that that stays where it is. Because what I want to do is I want to attach this to Indiana's hand, but I want to do it early so that it's not going to be a problem later. Which hand would he reach over and give it to him with? Probably the one on the other side here. So let me bring this down. As you can see, I have a pot behind him. I used two pots so that there'd be a backing. So I want to edit Indiana. Which one is this for? I think that's the editor. Okay, so I want that one there. And I want to move it. So it's going to hold this hand. And I'm going to close that out. Now I want to select the thing. And thing is going to be linked. So there's a little link thing up here. And it's going to go to, make sure I get the right one. It's the one for his hand. Gosh, it's hard to tell when it's so tiny. I want to make sure I'm using the right thing. I think it's there. All right, we'll see. So
You a hand.
okay, so there he's talking the hand. Let's go back to Indiana now and see when I animate him, does the hand travel with him? A lot of times I have problems with this where the origin's off or something, I think. I'm hoping I'm not going to run into that today, but we'll see. So I'm going to motion this. So I'm going to do what's called inverse kinematics, taking the hand and moving it around, if it lets me. Okay, cool. So all right. And you'll notice that this is all the way. It's going to be like that. So what I have to do is I have to go just a little ways back, and I need to bring that back around into the pot like that so that I make the animations. I didn't want it to go that way. I want it to go the other way. So what I want to do is halfway in between, I'm going to wrap this around the other route. Hopefully that'll work. There you go. And then go on the outside here and get this. Oop, won't work to twirl it. That's weird. Okay. Now this is going to be a tricky part I'm not used to. I'm going to go to the other character and take his hand and put it up there. And at this point, I want to set this so that the hand changes ownership to the other person. So I go to hand, I'm sorry, thing. I need thing. There it is. And I come up here to the link and I tell it to link it to this guy's hand. Okay. So now Indiana, when I go back to him, now I want his hand to change. Go back into here. Or actually, I'm going to let him release it and then let's go a few frames. And go a few frames more. Okay, so let's see how that worked out. Let me turn the cauldron back on that's above him. Where's the cauldron? I'll search for it up here. Cauldron. Okay, and let's see how that worked out. Oh, and I also need to turn the other guy's hand back to the normal spot. Let me do that.
Trick.
You calling it old one, you
Double cheat.
And every so often it's good to save your file. And what I like to do is I like to do what's called a work in progress. So I might make this 2 instead of 1. Basically broken mine down by scene numbers. This way, if you ever lose your work, you can always go back to the previous one so you don't have to start from scratch. Because sometimes files do get corrupted. So let's go back here a little ways. And do Alt and stretch that out a bit so I can see where I'm at. Okay, so he takes it there.
Let me lend you a hand.
So right about there, I want to take mine away. So let me select this character. Let's edit his hand. And go a little bit further back. I'll put this down below. Okay. So I added some keyframes in there so that it looks like he's pulling his hand out. All right, there we go. So let's see how it works now.
Looks like you got us into one hot kettle of fish there, mate.
If you would have simply followed the plan, Dundee, we would have already found the artifact.
If I could just get to me knife. A little further. Almost got it.
Let me lend you a hand.
Thanks, mate. Guess they can teach an old dog a new trick.
Who you calling an old dog?
Well, they did name you after a dog.
And let me check one other thing here. So if I take this character, oops, I accidentally pushed something to move him, and I go to animate him, I just want to make sure as I animate the hand to go back, or to have him use the hand, that it will in fact travel with him. It does. So put that back. So I got a lot of work to do still to get this thing finished up in time, but I have those. I'll basically get this so that these things fall over, and there's going to be a lot of cut-ins. I'm going to cut in to show facials on both of these guys, on the fire, probably on these tribesmen as well, just to give it a little flavor, and basically using what's called the 3-shot sequence that's used in the film industry a lot. And in those cases, as I'm doing each of those shots, I'll compose this whole thing, make it work first, and then I'll go back and start to do each of my shots and save them out separately and render them separately. And this way I can get everything put in place so that I can assemble it all in After Effects. So I got probably a couple hours of work yet, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit of my work in progress. I know it's been long, but like I said, I'm kind of new at this and I'm learning as I go. So thanks for watching.